So next, let's talk about the radio. So this is my Taranis Plus. There's nothing special about this radio. I have done a few modifications to make it a little bit nicer for the pilot. Now, aside from that, it's essentially completely stock. So let's go over the modifications that I have done. So the first modification that I did was that I put an SMA on the top of the radio. Now, what that does is it allows you to run pretty much any antenna that you would like. The antenna that I run of choice is this 5 dBi antenna. Now, the only thing that it allows you to do is get a little bit better range in certain circumstances. For the most part, for mini quads, the 2 dBi that comes with it is perfectly okay, but I like to switch to the 5 dBi because I do fly in some locations that I feel like having a higher gain antenna gives me a little bit of an advantage and a little bit of more confidence in my radio link. So that is why I run the 5 dBi antenna. The downside of this antenna is you have to remove it every single time you put your radio away. So that is really the only downside to it, aside from it looking pretty obnoxious on the radio itself. Now, the next modification that I did is on the inside of this radio, I have a Lumenier 2500 milliamp 3 cell. That allows you to get a longer life out of the radio. The stock nickel metal hydride battery that it comes with is a pretty crappy battery, and I prefer to run a lithium polymer battery because it can handle amp draw a little bit better. And if you're running a TBS module or something that draws a little bit more current, then I would prefer to run that lithium polymer battery. Now, the one thing that I have done recently to this radio that I really like is I put the Aurora 9 gimbals in this thing. I loosened the springs pretty much as far as they would go to resemble the same spring tension as the stock gimbals in the Taranis. However, I do prefer the potentiometers in these Aurora 9 gimbals over the Taranis gimbals. I've noticed that the Taranis gimbals, over a certain amount of time, as long as there's a dust getting in there, which is pretty much inevitable, you're going to run out of the lifespan of your Taranis gimbals pretty quickly. They last about 6 months to a year for most people, and some people they last even less than that. So these Aurora 9 gimbals are pretty much plug and play. You have to cut about 6 wires per gimbal and remove an entire gimbal essentially and install it into the Taranis hub box in the back here, but you do gain the additional precision of the potentiometers inside that gimbal, and you also gain the stiffer springs and the better ball bearings. So yeah, that is a great modification for these things, and it comes with these stick ends. So these are like the nicest stick ends that I've ever felt. They're very, very sticky, and they work well for pinchers or thumbers. So great modification. I have put this little stand on the back. I know a lot of people ask me about this stand. I bought it at Range Video a long time ago, and I've modified it quite highly. So I highly doubt anything online is going to look like this, but you know, you can go online and find something very similar to this. Just search radio stand. I'm sure eBay has a bunch of them, and they're all going to do the same job as the one that I have. So yeah, that's essentially everything that I've done to my radio, and I love it. I am 100% confident in this radio link. I actually trust this radio link more than UHF in the area that I live because there is such a UHF issue in the Atlanta area. I would prefer to run 2.4 pretty much everywhere. So yeah, that is my radio. I hope you enjoyed it.